Not bring me to the next point. So now, the word has it that the president may tap Senator Kerry, move on. That will open up a special election. Two-part question. One, what does that mean for the Democratic Party insofar as engagement and finances? Do you guys fund that? Does that come from the feds? How is that a special election paid for? And then two, who jumps in? You know, and I know you may not be able to, you know, get knee deep and get into the weeds on that, but who are the likely folks that would look at moving up to that next step on the ladder to be a public servant? So let's first deal with how does the party deal with mounting the special election?
So the special election will have a couple of elements. One element that the special does not have that the regular election, there's no caucuses and convention, 15%, there's not time for that. Right. So it's a primary and then a general. So in the primary, our talent, our good candidates will get into the race and they will battle it out. What the party's role there is to help them in any way that does not, like I'm not going to say anything bad about a Democrat, or I'm not going to organize against a Democrat, but if somebody needs something, we'll be helpful to any of them that ask us. But our principal role will be to get ready for that last 6 weeks, which will be trying to referee a little bit. You know, I don't mind an issues fight, go crazy. I even accept a sharp elbow every once in a while. That's part of the competition. But try to really urge the candidates and their closest advisors, avoid the nasty personal attacks that make it hard to come together, and then commit to unify afterwards and really set up some of the mechanics, which we're really, really ready to do. And what you'll see, so this is the opposite side of the excitement that I told you about the platform drafting committee. We have lots of talent. So that's a problem in a short race, right? Who is going to be? I think it's more of a problem for many of the really smart, engaged people who consider them leaders in the Commonwealth, who would like a very simple solution. They don't want Scott Brown, right, and they just want, please tell me what it is. Right. So this is when some of my incumbent friends don't like me, because I like primaries. I think they're good. So let's think about this. So there's at least 3, maybe 4 congressmen who've said they're thinking about it. Right. Steve Lynch, Mike Capuano, Ed Markey, and a little bit Bill Keating. He has been less, but some people are suggesting he might think about it. Right. So I like them all. They're talented. They got experience. They know how Washington works. They got to evaluate all this. Theoretically, they can run without giving up their seat, so that might create an incentive for them to go do it. Already, Senator Ben Downing, a Democrat from Pittsfield, is 31 years old, so he's just old enough to be a senator. He got elected to the state senate at 25, the youngest in history. Wow. I sat down with him and we started talking about, you know, he's beloved in his district. He could win there forever, but well, what are the opportunities? And he starts thinking, because there's some opportunities coming in 2014. And he said to me, well, the ultimate thing I would love to be someday is a United States Senator. Well, even at 31, how many opportunities are there going to be? So he has made it clear he's thinking about it. Right. I love that, right? That a guy who, you know, people couldn't find Albany for most of the state. I mean, you could find Albany closer than this. It's so close. You know, that he knows in Massachusetts it's possible for him to contest this election really well. And I think there's lots of people. So one of the people that would have been on everybody's lips, except for Deval Patrick, messed it up, is Andrea Cabral. She's, thank God, going into the governor's administration to take a leadership role there. But and so there's a bunch of others that are thinking about it, and I want to be careful to allow them to.
Well, let me ask you this: so when they're thinking about it, do they consult with you, or do they just let you know that I'm thinking about it? Just put that on your radar.
Yeah, most will talk because I think they want to hear what else is happening, or they want to make sure if that their names get in the mix if people are doing it. But I look at this. I mean, let me go look at those 4 dozen people we just released. Maybe some of them are interested. Maybe, and so one of the things, any of the people that we know are thinking about this, I'd be proud to have as my senator. I'd stand behind them. I would work my heart out for them. There's no thing there. But you can't tell me in Massachusetts that it's a good thing if that's the whole pool of potential candidates. Now, running statewide, big commitment, big sacrifice for your family. I'm not saying everybody should want to do this, but if you tell me in all of Massachusetts, with all the things we've done, there's not a single woman who's thinking about it, I'd be disappointed. There's not a single person of color that's thinking about it, I'd be disappointed. So I don't believe that's true. Now, whether we will elect a woman or a person of color to this United States Senate will depend on a contest. But I know that those kind of candidates exist. The kind of candidates that are Deval Patrick before he decided to run, the Elizabeth Warren before she did, not the kind of candidates that are looking for somebody clear a path for me. I'd love to be United States Senate.
Yeah.
Would you please make it easy?
Right.
But candidates that say, I think I have something to offer to serve, and I have engaged some of my closest friends, and they're putting on their parachute and jumping out this cliff with me.
Let me ask you this though. So you just named a few congressmen and others like Ben Downing, but could someone like a Ted Kennedy Jr. say, hey, I might get into this? When you talk about clearing the field, would a name like the Kennedy name in this state, would that clear the field, or would he just be another, really quality candidate to get into the race?
Well, he seems clearly he'd be a quality candidate. Right?
Well, that's
He's
true,
had some
right? But I mean,
advantages.
quality to the point where he would clear the field.
So I don't know. I mean, he's never run before. Clearly, he's got a remarkable story, and has a lineage and a heritage, and the wisdom I'm sure picked up at his dad's knee from a very young age. He's endured some personal challenges that he's overcome and succeeded. Lost a leg to cancer. He's been a guy who's seen good times and bad, and he's succeeded. A great story, and certainly a heritage and lineage that would mean that he gets what this is all about. Whether he decides to do it, I don't know. As you know, I was very excited about Elizabeth Warren winning, but I was the last guy who was arguing for a primary right until we got through the convention.
Right.
Because first of all, the fact that there was a contest actually helped Elizabeth Warren, even though at our convention she scored a historic 96%, was remarkable.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, the fact that there was another candidate meant that forced a very early focused organizing, which was really good. So I think that the primaries really help us. Now, obviously you get a candidate like Elizabeth Warren who contested a primary. It was over early. I mean, some games are 15-0 after the first inning. I get it. So, that doesn't mean that it has to be a long, but the fact that people who are interested in this would come forward, would put themselves on the line, I think that strengthens our eventual nominee. I think Marisa DeFranco made Elizabeth a better candidate, a better campaign maybe, as much as a candidate. And so I think that'll be good for us here as well.
So I'm going to throw you a curveball. First of all, I'm inviting you back because there's so much that we haven't touched on. We're just about out of time, so you've got about 60 seconds. And now in 60 seconds, just touch on what you think an Ayanna Pressley, Tito Jackson, or Felix Arroyo bring to the mix when you talk about folks of color, Sonia Chang Diaz, Carlos Henriquez, Russell Holmes, bring to the mix when you talk about folks of color getting into the political mainstream.
So that list of candidates, and it gets supplemented by folks like Aaron Vega from Holyoke, who just got involved, and Cheryl Coakley-Rivera from Springfield, and a whole raft of really strong candidates who got elected in grassroots issues-based campaign. First of all, what clearly does is put leadership in our party that is greatly appreciated. I think they provide the infrastructure for top of the ticket races that really have a big part of driving out the votes in the communities of color, which we talked about already. But they also provide our current leaders with the future. So all of the people that you just mentioned are potential candidates for anything they think is on their radar screen. They've shown the skill, they've shown the ability to raise enough money, they've shown a facility with talking to voters and convincing them. It's so important. But one of the things that's really remarkably great about them is they are building a team underneath them. So when we talk about Jason Burrell, where did he start? Tito's campaign.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what's so important about this. I love Tito, but and I wouldn't be surprised that he won't be Councilor Jackson forever. But maybe one of the biggest things he's going to contribute is Jason Burrell and others like him that are engaging and being part of this. That leadership development is such an important part of sustaining this. And you know, on top of everything else, the work, aside from the politics, the work they do every day, the quality of the service, the integrity with which they offer it is just, it opens minds, it opens doors. Like I say, if there's candidates who think they're going to win a statewide election and a Democratic primary in Massachusetts that have not figured out somebody in communities of color that's going to be on their team, around their table on day one, the person who does that is going to have a huge leg up. And these electeds, I mean, I would, you know, I mean, I'm not from the community, right? So unsolicited advice is worth what you pay for it. But I think the strongest thing, if I was trying to figure out for the community, it'd be great if there were 4 candidates for governor and they each had active campaigns in Boston, right? And it, you know, I mean, I get that every one of those campaigns is going to try to corner the market and get everybody around, but that kind of competition for those primary votes will generate new Jason Burrells and better responsibility and more engaged participation. So it could be a really exciting 2 years.
It is definitely going to be that, no doubt about it. John, as I say, we extend an invitation to have you come back at some time. Once we get into some of these races to talk more about this, really do appreciate you coming on today. All right, folks, we're out of here. We're out of time. But before we go, let me give Linda Dorsina Forey, representative from Dorchester, a shout out also, because if I don't say her name and she sees me, I'm in trouble. So there's to you, Lynn. Look, we'll be back again next week. Until then, you take care of yourself.